Okay, so we've moved a little bit further up the chain now. We're going to look at the hip, and I'm going to introduce you to, once again, another one of Stu's favourite areas. Okay, this is all about ungluing the gluteus minimus muscle from the TFL. Okay, so we're talking about the anterior fibres of glute minimus and the posterior fibres of TFL. So it is just one of those beautiful little areas where hypertensity starts to form, and for me it is a game-changing area. Now I have a couple of really game-changing areas around the hip. For those of you that are familiar with my hip protocol, then by all means check it out. There's a couple of areas around the hip which are extraordinarily important in terms of unlocking these restrictions. Now, just every now and then when you get these hip restrictions in, it is so important to address some of these areas. Now this is one of these areas, okay? And I'm going to show you it because this is one of my tricks of the trade, if you like, okay? Now we don't need a huge amount of cream in this area, okay? So we don't need a real slippery cream. So it's important that when we are using the cream that we don't put too much, because we want to engage this tissue just right. And we want to do this safely, and we want to do it effectively as well. And that's what we're doing. So side lying here with James. So we're talking again, once again, the TFL, and then basically if we just come back off the TFL, we'll be in that sort of glute minimus area, the anterior fibres there. So once again, this will be a broad approach. This will be a slow approach, but it is a little game changer, okay? So I'm going to start up in the superior portion, and we're going to work our way down, and I'm going to work across. So it is a broad approach. Once again, we've got a little bit of cream already involved here. We're using, again, the fleshy part of our forearm, okay? So we're going to sink in, and I'm going to be working posterior to anterior, and as I go anteriorly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be dragging the tissue down and locking down onto the edge of the TFL, the posterior fibres of the TFL, and then I'm just going to add a shear force. Okay, now I do this a lot with my athletes, and with some of the more experienced athletes, what we do is we can actually introduce a little bit of movement. So sometimes I'll be able to just bring them into a little bit of extension, a little bit of flexion, a little bit of adduction, and we just move through that process. And it's not huge movements, it's just small, subtle movements we need to do as we work through that tissue there. So as again, you can see the speed that I'm working. There is a fair chance as you come and roll onto the TFL itself at that superior portion, you will come face to face with the trigger point in that area, and that is a deadly little trigger point. So just be careful, mindful of your pressure, make sure that you're checking in with your client and that they can accept that. All right, so working down and over. All right, come down. We're going to pick up the next section just underneath there. It is exactly the same process again. So we're coming down, locking on, and then applying a shear force. So it's perfect, so don't let the force off. Make sure that your client's happy, they're good. Yeah, James is good, yep, that pressure's okay. If I find him pushing against me, then I know I'm going too far. Once again, if you like, you can introduce a little bit of extension, a little bit of flexion, adduction, working across like so. And we just move down and pick up. And basically the ending point for this will be, you will end up at the superior portion of your greater trochanter, and then you'll know that's about as far as you want to go. So it's only a small little section there. So we're locking in, coming in. My body weight is coming over. That is the pressure, so nothing's coming through my shoulder, okay? It's all from my body weight, so it's effective and it's safe and blend off. And that's the sort of speed you want to be doing, okay? So that is the little ungluing of TFL and glute medius and minimus together.
Are you looking for ways to build your practice or connect with more of your ideal patients? Perhaps you're already busy but need ways to simplify or level up your practice management. Whatever your needs, we've got you covered. Introducing My Appointments, a revolutionary all-in-one practice management solution that will stimulate practice growth, reduce administrative burdens, decrease running costs, and help you build and manage your ideal practice. With multiple inbuilt services including appointment keeping, payment processing, customizable online intake forms, high caps, and secure client records, My Appointments has everything you need in one user-friendly place. Our integrated online payment gateway and instant high caps processing will help you stay on top of your invoicing with no setup or monthly fees or the need for a terminal. Our free practitioner app helps you manage your practice while on the go, including processing payments, taking treatment notes, or booking appointments no matter where you are. From their app, patients can also keep track of upcoming appointments and pay invoices, view prescribed products and treatment recommendations, as well as book appointments 24/7. By simplifying practice management, My Appointments will help your business thrive so you can focus on what you do best, treating your clients. Unlike other platforms that charge hundreds of dollars per month, My Appointments is free, no ongoing or upfront fees. Simply pay for what you use. Our competitively priced paid features include SMS starting from 11 to 15 cents per message and payment processing at 1.5 plus 25 cents per transaction. No hidden costs and no other fees. As a valued member of Massage and Myotherapy Australia, we have a special offer for you. Not only do you get first access to our platform once launched, but you'll also receive SMS messages for just 9 cents, plus 50 free. And if you are a certified specialist, you'll receive 100 free SMS messages. By delivering simplified business and marketing solutions and connecting more patients to practitioners, we can help you maximise the potential of your business. Your success is our success. My Appointments, by practitioners, for practitioners.
Hi, I'm Davey, CEO of Massage and Myotherapy Australia, and welcome to the Connect Show for June. I'm here with Anil Mustafa, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, who is a myotherapist who has been practicing for nearly 20 years, who is the brains trust, I suppose we could say, from Find My Appointment and My Appointments platforms. So Anil came up with the idea due to her changing nature of the way that she worked. So as I said, she's been working as a myotherapist for the past 20 years, and her job circumstances changed, and then she opened her own clinic and then opened a Pilates gym and a Pilates studio and then a gym. I'm getting tired just listing them all now. And then over recent times, along with her business partner, who is also a myotherapist, they decided that they needed to create efficiencies in their business. So hence the platform was born. And it's basically, in order to help therapists streamline their business, reduce the administrative burden, and save the therapist money and time. So hi, Anil, thanks for coming to speak to me.
Hi, Anne, thanks for having me aboard. It's wonderful to be here with you.
Oh, good. All right. So I suppose, can you give us a bit of a summary of what the platform does?
Yeah, so essentially it's a practice management system. So it's not just about managing your appointments and allowing online bookings. It's a full system that allows you to completely manage your practice, from payments to invoicing to marketing and automations, that everything we could think of that we could save practitioners time with. We've built an automation around it. For example, client retention strategies, following up with clients that haven't been in for appointments for a specified period of time. And then we're also in the process of building a specific marketing segment that gives practitioners ideas about how to grow their own businesses. And the need for this came about with me having run my own practice from such a young age and having left school with zero marketing knowledge and having to just do trial and error and come up with ways to build my practice. And so over that time, I've found all of the things that I found hard in practice, the things that I just never had time to do, and also the things that I didn't enjoy doing, and found a way to build a system that would assist other practitioners to manage their own patients and or businesses as well.
So it was born out of experience, basically. And I think I hear that a lot from members that, you know, they trained to be a practitioner hands-on, and the business side of things is, well, you hear that from a lot of industries, but it is a bit of a drain. So
Absolutely.
So the product will, we assure you, make your practice, streamlining your business practices. So we'll assist with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So we'll deep dive straight in. So what if one of our members or the practitioner, you know, is on another platform, and, you know, they've been in business for 1 to 10 years and got 10 records or thousands of records on? How easy is it, or is it possible, and how does it work to transfer those records?
Yeah, it's fairly easy. We've got a sample file that you download. It's a CSV file, and all you need to do is input your data into that CSV file and then click one button, and our system automatically uploads all of that data onto your system. So it's super easy to do. It's just a matter of downloading the correct file and matching that file with your records to ensure that our systems can update with the correct information.
Okay, so it just has to be in the right format, which most systems can do with. If you're not computer literate, CSV file is quite a common file.
Yeah, essentially just download it. Usually you'll download your data in CSV, but you open it up in an Excel program typically, and then you make your changes in Excel, and then all you need to do is click Save As and save it as a CSV file. And then you just upload that file onto our system, and it auto-populates all of the data into our platform for you.
I like things that are automated.
Yes, indeed. As a practice owner, I can tell you some of these systems are going to significantly save a lot of time. So I'm really excited about how it's going to help practitioners in their businesses.
Awesome. So on that note, it is data, it is clients' personal information. How secure is the data? You know, you hear about the cloud, you hear about, or data integrity. So,
yeah. And it's a big one, and a lot of people are concerned about that. And I know with other practice management systems that I've built in the past, unbeknownst to me, but the people who own the software could actually access a lot of the data. Now, in most cases, they don't, because it's there for technical reasons. If there are any coding errors, they need to go in and have a look what might be going on. So they don't necessarily look at the patient data. But we've seen with, I won't mention their name, but it was a medical software that's a similar practice management solution for the medical industry. And they were actually exporting all out their data and on selling that data to pharmaceutical companies. And so when that exploded a couple of years ago, a lot of other practice management systems have recognized that there is clearly a problem there. So when we were in the midst of starting to build this platform, that was something that became really important to us. So from the get-go, we built it so that none of our team members, or even myself and my business partner, can actually access or see any data that practitioners upload onto our platform. So the only things that we can see are the things that practitioners provide to us directly, such as their email address, phone number, etc. But we can't see any of the data that they actually upload onto their platform at all. So that was the first thing we did. The other thing we did was looking at our developers. So our developers are ISO certified, which is basically an international best practice framework for information security management. So we had to make sure that they had those certifications in place to make sure that when they built the system, it would be built in the most securest way. When we were deciding on our payment partners that we use, because through our system, you don't need a terminal at all. You don't have to have a machine to process payments. Everything can be done online through our platform. And so when we're looking at that, we made sure that the payment partner we utilized was PCI level 1 compliant. And all that means is that they have the highest level of security systems in place to manage card data as well. So we can't see any of the payment details that practitioners or patients upload onto our system. And when the practitioner or the patient loads them onto the system, they're all fully encrypted, so even they can't access that information as well. And our web servers as well, another big one. We made sure that we use the most securest web services that exist, and those systems are housed in Sydney. So they're all housed in Australia, and they have the maximum level of security that can exist for a web services provider to ensure that the data that's backed up onto their servers can't be accessed as well.
Right. Yeah, that leads me into my next question was, you touched on credit cards and payment gateways and the likes. We all know high caps. So does it connect to high caps, or from what you just said, do we still need high caps with this system?
You don't need a high caps terminal anymore with our system. So what we've built in is an integration with a company called Medipass. Now, Medipass have a connection with high caps and Medicare and NDIS and iCare in New South Wales, and they're looking eventually to try to get other work cover associations across Australia on board as well. So what that means is that you can automate the processes of work cover and high caps processing as well. So the way that it works is that you apply for a free account with Medipass, and once you have got on board with them, you'll fill in an application form, send over that application to High Caps directly. They approve it, and then High Caps connects you to start processing online payments straight away. So with our system, we've built an integration so that our system talks to their system. And so what will happen is on our intake forms, your clients can actually put their health fund information, or you can take it at the time of consult. But once that information is stored onto Medipass's servers, again, all fully encrypted and secure, then each time you go to process a payment, all you need to do is click High Caps. That opens up a pop-up that links through to Medipass's system. Your client then gets a text message. There's no fees for that text message either. That comes from Medipass's servers. Your client just clicks approve. And once it's approved, our system gets updated with the rebate amounts, and then you can process the gap through our payment gateway as well, or take cash. Right. So it's all run through a third party. It doesn't run through our system. So they've gone through all the compliance and security, necessary in order for them to be able to process rebates online. And what we've done is build the facility to save even more time, because with our systems, it draws out all of the information that the health funds need in order to process that payment without the practitioners having to manually enter it all the time as well.
Yeah. So with a practitioner, if they do have a reception, they can access that from their computer, basically. So if the practitioner does their clinic notes within the practice room, the treatment room,
yep.
And then the client goes out to pay for the service in reception, it works exactly the same as if they did it all at once. Yeah.
Anyone who's got access to the system can initiate that process.
Right.
And it's literally just the click of a button. So whether the receptionist does it or the practitioner does it, doesn't make a difference either way.
Yeah.
But if the practitioner doesn't have a receptionist and they're really busy, all they need to do is just click that button. Yeah. And then when the client approves the payment, which they can do at any time, they've got a 15-minute window when the transaction is sent to them to approve. But once they've approved that transaction, then the practitioner at the end of the day can come back and process the rebate or the gap, through our system, so that they're not running late with their next client, or they can process it on the spot as well. This system will save between 3 and 5 minutes per consult. And this is a big one for me, because in the early days when I couldn't afford a receptionist, I would always be running late, because you don't want to cut your client's treatment time down in order to process the payments. And then you get to the reception, or if you're processing from your room, you're trying to process that payment, and then there'd be another conversation that would happen. And so before you knew it, put all the card details through, swipe the machine. It just, took so much longer. And so then you were late for the next client and then the next client. So with this system, it can all be done in the matter of seconds. Yeah. And so it should save practitioners a considerable amount of time.
And I'm sure that is very attractive to a lot of our practitioners.
Yeah, well, certainly something that was very attractive to me, and which is why I decided to build the systems to create that.
Okay, so can practitioners use the platform but not accept the online bookings?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how I'm currently using it. I've sold my business about 6 years ago. And so now I just see some clients from home. And because of the My Appointments platform and the significant workload in building this over the last 2 years, I've reduced my client intake. So I don't see any new clients anymore. And so I don't allow my clients to book their appointments online purely because I have limited times in which I can work around the My Appointments platform and my children. And so my clients will just text or call for appointments. So absolutely, you can use it. And I understand that there are a lot of practitioners out there that want to control their diary and they don't want their clients to be able to book in at any time and then leave them 15-minute gaps here or any of that sort of stuff. So absolutely, you don't have to have online bookings on the My Appointments platform. You'll just go to your settings, switch it off, and then your clients won't be able to book that appointment online themselves.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And so you can set up the length of appointments. So with the online booking, is it easy to do that? To say,
Yeah.
I only want bookings on the hour or every 45 minutes or
Yeah.
you set times? Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got several settings here. First and foremost, when you set up your My Appointments account, you'll go through a setup wizard, and that's just answering a series of questions that you need in order to fully customize the platform to work in the way that you want it to work.
Right.
So if you only see clients for 45-minute intervals or 1 hour intervals or half an hour intervals, then you set your calendar intervals to those. And so what that means is that the only times that become available to your clients, if you set your calendar for 1 hour intervals, is 1 hour intervals. And that means that you don't ever have any gaps in between your system. However, if you have half an hour appointments and 45-minute appointments and 1 hour appointments, then you've got to set it at 15-minute intervals. And then when you set up your services, you specify how long each service duration is. And then on the front end, the clients will book and our system checks to see where they can fit an appointment for that duration and then shows them those options as well.
All right. So very automated. I am impressed. So is the system, getting back to high caps and payments and the transactions, is it accountant friendly? We're coming up, well, we are at the end of financial year, so we're all thinking about our tax returns, although some of us wait until October, the very last date. Is it can you get the reports that come out of it, the financial reports, can you download something and take it to your accountant and it will be in a format that they would want?
Yeah, absolutely. What you can do is just go to generate a report on your takings, and then you'll specify the date range. And then our system brings up everything that has been processed through our platform in a report that can be downloaded in CSV format or in a PDF format.
Right.
And that gives your accountant the information they need to generate or to know what your income is. And then the part of it they haven't built in, we'll be building in, is the expenses. So once you've populating our system with your expenses, then you can print out profit and loss reports and things of that nature as well. So that will be in our phase 2 rollout where we'll start looking at those features. However, what we will do before then is, because a lot of people use Xero or MyOb or QuickBooks and those sorts of existing accounting packages, we are looking at building an integration between the two so that our system talks to their system. And then what that means is that you go into Xero if you're using Xero and you upload all of your expenses, and the My Appointments platform automatically sends all of your patient data, or your invoices, I should say, across into the platform, into Xero, so that Xero knows what your incoming expenses are incoming as well.
Right.
So that'll be a part of our phase 2 rollout as well.
Yeah, so it will have full financials, which is great. Yeah. So, and I mean, we all know that one particular health fund has changed the rules on invoicing.
Yes.
So how simple is the invoicing, and does it meet the private health fund? Well, I'm assuming it does meet, but yeah, the invoicing on the platform, is that pretty simple to use as well?
Yeah, it is. Everything that you need on the invoice will be there in order for your clients to be able to claim. However, we've gone one step further and made it even easier. And that is that your clients can pay for their own appointments themselves. However, we wouldn't recommend that if they're using high caps, because you can't prepay high caps appointments. So what will happen is, if the client hasn't paid the invoice, then the practitioner goes in makes the payment on our system and processes that. And the invoice automatically gets uploaded. It gets emailed as well, but it automatically gets uploaded into the patient's account. So the patient can log in via the app or via the web and access all of the invoices for all of their practitioners at the click of a button. So with that, it means they can then take that invoice and send it straight on to their health fund as well. So it saves the patient time in having to get the invoice from their practitioner and then take it to their health fund, because it's all uploaded, ready to go for them to be able to send it over to claim through their health fund directly as well. So yeah, we've made that, really simple, just so that you don't have to worry about printing an invoice and then the client loses the invoice and they come back and ask you for a copy of the invoice. And I'm sure many practitioners can relate to that scenario.
Yeah.
So our system automates that process, so that once you process it, the invoice automatically gets sent out for them to be able to do it. So it meets all of the criteria that is required for private health insurances. You've just got to make sure that when you go to our invoice settings that you specify what your provider numbers are so that they show up on the invoice. So, most, as we know, providers have so many different health fund numbers, unlike chiros and other AHPRA registered practitioners that have a single one that they typically use. With us, we have many. So we just have to make sure that the correct information is on the invoice when you're creating your settings, and then everything else from that point onwards is fully automated.
Yeah, I'm sure that is a huge time saver if it's automated and you don't have to keep looking up your provider number for the different health funds.
Yes.
So, yeah, and you touched on the app that clients and patients can use, so they have access to their entire record.
They have access to their invoices,
Right.
all of their past and upcoming appointments,
Right.
and any recommendations that a practitioner has made to them. So when you are taking your clinical notes and you make recommendations to your clients, we've allowed the functionality for you to send a message, and it's not sent as a text message, it's just data from one account to the next account. So you'll type in whatever your recommendations are, including any stretches. So if you want to upload a stretching sheet, for example, but if your advice is that you want your client to ice after their treatment and go for a 15-minute walk after they've iced their back, or you want them to have a bath with Epsom salts, or you've got specific stretches or other specific advice that you want to give to your client, then the idea is that you type that information across into your recommendations, your treatment recommendations. You click one button and that sends across into the client's account, which means they have that information accessible at any time. And I know with my own clients, sometimes if I've referred on to another practitioner or if I've given them stretches to do, they'll get in contact and say, what were the details of that practitioner, or what stretches did you tell me to do again? So this was the purpose of building this into our systems, is that the client can always go back to whatever your recommendations are as a practitioner and see exactly what you've told them to do. And they can see it in chronological order, whatever that you've given them as well. And the beauty of that is that it then saves that data into your own treatment notes. So it saves you from having to write it for your client and then write it into your own treatment notes. You could do it all through the My Appointments platform as well. So clients can't see the notes that you leave for them or about them, I should say. And they can only access the stuff that's relevant to them. And that is, as I said, invoicing and all of their upcoming and past appointments as well.
So what's the difference between the free plan and the paid plans? So, like we said in the beginning, that you built this to save, not only save time on the administrative burden, but also to save money. So, how does it work?
Yeah, so the way this came about is because small business owners don't usually have, $50 extra a month lying around, sometimes more, to use a practice management system. And there's also practitioners, and we know this from the surveys also that Massage and Myotherapy Australia have done with their members, that a lot of people think that they're too small to need a practice management system. And then there's others that think that they're not tech savvy enough to use them. So that's how we started coming up with the concept of building a platform that could have no monthly fee, but also be sustainable. And so what we've done is created a free plan and a paid plan. So those that don't want to use our payment gateway in any capacity will sign up to the paid plan. However, if they want to use our payment facility for even some features, for example, allowing their clients to pay for overdue invoices, or if they want to take payment upfront for a booking, or if they want to take a deposit for a booking before they accept a booking, those are all things that can be automated through the My Appointments platform. So we don't have a minimum amount that you have to spend in order to be on our free plan. We just have a fair use policy, and that is that you are transacting something on your free account. So that can be SMS reminders by purchasing credits for SMS reminders, or it could be that you are processing or your clients are processing some payments from their end as well. So the difference between the two plans is that the free plan has access to all of our features. Now, it seems it's a bit hard for people to get their head around because you're paying less but getting more. But the reason for that is that the features that you have access to on the free plan require the payment gateway. Right. So, for example, taking payments, prepayments, or taking deposits, or allowing your clients to process their own invoices. And the other one that we've built that's not so specific to massage and myotherapist is products. But if practitioners do sell products, whether it be pillows or heat packs or, balls or any sort of stretching or rehab equipment, that can all be sold through the My Appointments platform as well. And what that means is that if the practitioner is happy to ship them or prepare the order and allow it to be picked up, then the patient can go in and actually order those products, pay for those products. The practitioner gets a notification to say that there's been an order for a pillow. They then just have to process the order. If it's being shipped, they'll put in the tracking number and the link and then click process, and that data goes across to their client, and then their client easily just sees and tracks that information as well. So those features require the payment processing facilities, and that's why they're not available on the free plan, on the paid plan. Right. The only other difference with the free plan is that you also get unlimited calendars. So if you've got multiple locations or multiple service providers, you can set them all up on the free plan. Right. And then the paid plan actually has a limit on those as well. And again, it might not make a lot of sense to people that they're getting less when they're paying for something, but we built the system primarily for people to use for free. And the way in which we built our business model is to find a payment solution that was significantly cheaper than what most people are currently paying, but still leaves us a very tiny window of a payment that we receive from those transactions. So our rates are significantly cheaper. We're at 1.5% plus 25 cents per transaction. And those rates are negotiable for those that have higher amounts of transactions, over $100,000 per month. But if you're comparing it to having a terminal where you've got to pay a monthly fee, whether you work or you don't work, and fortunately us Melburnians are really feeling those extra expenses with the lockdowns. So, with our system, you don't need a terminal. So you're saving your monthly fee. And then if you're not working, you're also not paying minimum fees to meet criteria for having a physical terminal. So because we make very small margins on those payment processing while still saving practitioners money, our business model, we've sort of built a business model that can sustain itself financially just on those very small margins. And for us, we're coming from a place of being industry backed and for the purposes of building something by practitioners for practitioners. So our primary goal is to find ways in which we can reduce expenses for practitioners. We can save them time, which will then help them build further income, and then obviously help them with marketing to streamline their business and get more people in the doors as well. So through that model, we really believe that we've built something that's going to significantly help practitioners while still being able to manage and maintain our own expenses as well.
Finally, how do our members get on board?
So they go to our website, which is myappointments.app, and there's a button at the top that says waitlist, and all they need to do is click that button, and they'll see some text and a little button that says join the waitlist, and they'll click that button and then they'll put in their details, verify their mobile number, and then they go onto our waiting list. So we've just started a staggered rollout now with the massage and myotherapy members, and we'll slowly bring more people on board as we go along. So depending on when they're joining will depend on when they actually get access, but we have started a staggered rollout now to get as many massage and myotherapy members on board as possible.
Well, that's very exciting because, as you said, you've been working on this for a couple of years, haven't you? So
Yes.
a staggered rollout is a launch, which is fantastic. So
yes, we're very excited by that. We just want to make sure that when we get people on board that we're there to support them when they're first using the platform, and that's the purposes of the staggered rollout. If we let we've got quite a large waiting list currently. If we let everybody on board at the same time, it would make it difficult to be able to give them the additional support that they may need when they're first using the platform. And so that's why we're doing a staggered rollout, so we can make sure that those that are on board have us at their disposal to help them out if they do need any support in using the platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Anil, for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been very informative. So for our members, if you want more information, visit our website, because Anil so kindly did a presentation for us. There's a webinar on the platform and you actually get to see it operating, and you'll be able to see how easy it is to use. And also just visit the myappointments.app. I think I got that right. Yes, which you can see on your screen now. So enjoy. Thanks, Anil.
Thanks again.